5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. Hello. Sorry for the little mix-up there at the start, and we're a little bit late starting. We've got all the country music aficionados in with us this evening. We've got Kate and Dave, who are to country music what Renee and Renata were to romantic songs. And we've got Craig in, the man who, to be honest with you, put the tree into country music, and I think I got that one the right way round. Anyway, good evening, welcome along. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. It's the forum show. Wherever you are in the world, one of the previous greetings will apply to you. If you're in the chat, let us know, what do you think of the transfer window so far? Rubbish, thank you. It's all one way, isn't it? It's all one-way traffic. Will that change? 6 days. Get your comments in. Also, like the channel if you can, or like the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell. If you're watching on catch up, please do exactly the same. But you can add your comments in below, but you can still like, subscribe. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending us your ears. Now then, Top told Marty he would have to sell before he could buy. 5 players have been sold so far. 48 million in the bank. Now, I must admit, a fair chunk of that I accept will have to go to PSR. But where are the incomings? Or are we having to write the season off as a rebuild? And basically, have a clear out, but nobody coming in. Registration embargo, transfer embargo, neither of those. And I was checking today, and I don't even think we've got a business plan in place. So why are we not bringing players in? It's scary. It is scary. So what does the season hold for us? Like I say, are we just writing it off and we're just going to sort of survive and not go down? Or is John Rudkin going to surprise us? He's not done a bad job. Let's be honest with you. And Rob Dorset has just announced, well, a few hours ago, The deal between Palace and Bilal is off. Leicester no longer need to sell to satisfy PSR, having sold James Justin to Leeds United Football Club and Casey McAteer to Ipswich. It would now take £35 million plus to get El Canouse out of Leicester. It doesn't really say whether that 50 million, right, anything we sell now, we can spend on players, or as I said before, we can spend some of that £50 million on players. This is Leicester. It's never going to be straightforward, is it? It is the debate show. Let's talk Leicester, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everyone.
I have put Ren and Renata next to each other rather than one on top because, I don't want any of that on during the show. And Craig, I didn't get that the right way round. You did put the tree into country music, not the other way round. And I'm going to say apologies. Well, I was trying to be nice to you. And I'm sorry, I did get a few of my words mixed up. I went to the opticians today and I had some drops put in my eyes so that they could test me, and I still can't see a bloody thing. So if I get your names wrong, that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Craig, look, what sort of season can we now expect?
Well, who knows? It's going to be an interesting week, isn't it? I think, I think there's a few clubs who haven't done any, or much business. I think they were talking to Fulham manager at the weekend, and he's I don't think they've bought anyone. In Premier League terms, that's unbelievable. So I think we've been waiting to see what we've got, and then I expect us to have quite a busy week. You've got to make sure you know who's going out and what money you've got before you can commit to anything, particularly in our situation. So I think that's what they're doing. They've got targets, but then, if they're good enough, they're going to have more than Leicester, going after them. And with the likes of one or two of the players that I won't mention now that I think may crop up in conversation, they're in good positions to wait until the end of the window and weigh up all their options. So it's not all down to just us. I think there'll be players who think there's a move on the cards who will be sort of seeing how the cards lie towards the end of the window and then making a decision on it. But I think it's going to be an interesting next few days.
7:00, it finishes early next Monday. Kate, I'm finding a lot of people, they are saying this through gritted teeth, but John Rudkin's not actually doing a bad job at the moment, some of the prices he's getting for these players.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I think Casey for 12 million, Wolf for 9, JJ for 10. These are players that were in the final sort of years of their contract, if you like. Casey's a homegrown player that we're not using. So, yeah, the sales have actually been good to date. It's just what kitty those sales monies are going into. Is it going into the kitty to make sure we stay out of trouble, or is it going into the kitty to bolster the squad? But we had a real top-heavy squad, didn't we? No pun intended. So we needed to get rid of some people anyway without replacing. So unless we're trying to get as much money in for some of these smaller players as we can, with a view to buying one or two more expensive players.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Dave, Marty did say at the start of the season he wanted a smaller squad. He wanted a squad that he could manage. Are there any of the players that have gone out so far, players that you would include, like, oh God, I wish we'd kept him?
Well, I'm disappointed with McAteer. I mean, I know he's not done a great deal, but I think he's still a talented young man. I think the prices we've got, Kate says they're good. You've probably got about £70 million worth of talent that's gone out for what would you say, 40?
48, nearly 50. Yeah.
But I suppose the position Leicester's in, they've got no option, have they? I think the thing is selling McAteer to Ipswich, I wasn't too keen on. It seems a bit of a strange one. The Retton Preston, okay, Iverson's been on free last year almost, wasn't he? But yeah, I suppose we didn't have any choice. We had no choice. Something had to.
Well, this is it. I mean, Ipswich, yeah, you could argue that, we're strengthening a rival that's headed below us in the table at the moment, but we're only 3 games in. But beggars can't be choosers, Dave, the way we are.
Yeah, Ipswich always starts slow, don't they? I think they did 2 years ago when they went up. So that's nothing new. And I was looking at the league and the Premier League and all that and seeing some of the teams in there, thinking, well, how the hell have they managed? When we couldn't manage. What have they done different? Brentford, Wolves aren't, so they're probably going down this year. Bournemouth, they're small teams, and yet we couldn't manage ourselves properly. and
I
now
think
we're paying the price. And everyone's thinking we're going to go up. Well, I think 2 weeks ago we spoke, and I said, mid-table would be fine this year.
Yeah.
Get the kids in and end up mid-table.
Yeah. I mean, I think in fairness, Bournemouth have been down. They came back up again. Burnley have been down and up again. I mean, we had a run of 10 years, which was, or 9 years, 9 seasons. It was a pretty good run, wasn't it, Craig? I mean, I don't think we can complain. And there's going to be 3 go down this year. Now, it might not be one of the 3. And you've got Wolves are struggling, Brentford are struggling. And I think we just fell into that trap door.
Yeah, I think we were buying better players, than the likes of Bournemouth. We just had a really poor year, and we went down, which is, I don't mean the last one. I mean the one before, when we had Maddison and Barnes and Tielemans and all these kind of players. The team that should have been able to stay up and didn't for whatever reason. It always seems that when we have a dodgy year, we end up going down the trapdoor. Whereas other teams, Everton, how many times have had dodgy years and they always manage to get away with it, and we never do if we have a dodgy year. So I think we were trying to dine at a European table, and whereas the likes of Bournemouth never really have. They've gone and found players from overseas or from lower leagues, and their target was always to just stay in the division, and then maybe edge themselves up a little bit, whereas we were trying to get to become a regular European force. Probably, beyond our means, as it turns out. And that's where we fell into that trap. And now it's a long road back from it.
It is. Kate, what sort of season do you think we're going to have? We started off we're going to be challenging, even with the points deduction. We'll still, get in the top 2 or playoffs at the minimum. We've got a great squad, and I was saying, give the youngsters a chance. And then we used the squad against Huddersfield, and that fell a bit flat. We went to get Sheffield Wednesday, where certain people in this very room were predicting 4, 5, and 6-0 wins, and we got a 2-1. Preston did us. Charlton, you could say we were lucky at. Do we look at this season purely as a sort of reset, if you like? Not a rebuild, but a reset. Take us back. And if we have, now PSR free, we'll still get a points deduction for the previous seasons. But have we got to accept that this is the season where we just sort of settle down, get ourselves back to the club that we used to be, and then start it all over again?
Yeah, potentially. It just depends, doesn't it, how well others do. Like Southampton and Ipswich have had an imperfect start, as well as Leicester. And I feel like there's a lot of expectation on us, probably from our fans. Like, we say a lot about players acting entitled or assuming they're going to walk matches or whatever. But actually, I think a lot of fans went into this thinking that top 6 was almost guaranteed. And now that reality is hitting, you've got to remember that this team were battered last year, absolutely battered, and played off the park, couldn't even score. And majority is the same feeling that's coming into this season, a team that's low on confidence, that have got to put themselves back together again, really. Another new manager, another philosophy to get their head around. It's not plain sailing at all. And I'm thinking that Marty feels like a really good cultural fit at the minute, because he's making some difficult decisions. He's leaving people like Winks out of the team. He hooked Bill out for a poor performance against Preston. We've actually been dying for a guy to come in and really show them who's boss and reward, like almost run a meritocracy, if you like. So I'm quite pleased that we're seeing some action. I know it's not always going to be the action that you like, but I'm pleased that we're seeing some action being taken in terms of getting some of these players out the door that are costing us a lot of money. Wilf is expensive. Wilf is a horse that's ran its race for Leicester. JJ, as much as I'm gutted to see him go, because I really like the guy, I think he's a great guy, and I think he's been a great player for us, but he's a horse that's ran his race for Leicester. And I don't mind getting rid of players like that. It's a tough decision. And yeah, there are plenty above them that I would like to get rid of, but it doesn't work like that. It's not as simple as that. So I'm glad that we're actually going through this process now, if you like, of finally getting rid of people to get ready to build to build again. And it might not be this year, but I'm not sure I want to go up this year if it's going to be a repeat of last year, because it was just miserable. And, you know, a mate of mine's a big Leeds fan, and he said the same this summer, that he's dreading going up because he doesn't think they've got enough to score. And we saw that we saw that at the weekend with Leeds, didn't we? I want to go up when we're ready. And if that's this season, great. I think top 6 is still quite viable, but we've got to be ready. And I want PSR finally off our back, really.
Oh, God, I just want to start a season when we don't have to be thinking, are we going to get a points deduction this season? You know, whatever you do, Top, just pay it, take the hit, and let's move on. I mean, Kate, you know, it wouldn't be like you to sort of predict that Leicester City were going to finish first, would it? You'd never do that.
I'm the optimist, you know me. It still could happen. Look, I'm not. You can't say that it won't. You can't say that it will. We're 3 games in. We've not had any momentum yet. But we'll just have to see what happens. I think there's a lot, you know, we didn't think Stoke would be on maximum points 3 games in, and look how they're flying. Like, you just don't know what the early part of the season, whilst the transfer window is still open, is so disruptive and is really a red herring at the moment, because there's a lot of players' heads being turned. Yeah, it's just unpredictable.
I mean, other people only predicted Leicester to be in the playoff. So more sensible, I would like to think.
Well, we'll see after 46 games, shall we?
No, I asked you for predictions at the start of the season. And that's...
Well, no, but don't mock it before 46 games are up.
No, if you finish top, you can come and have a go at me. You really can. David, it's a bloody joke, isn't it, this transfer window? And I've just done the news show that we do every day at 6, and Marty is doing a bloody good job. He comes in the morning and he does not know what players are probably going to be there. It's like calling a register. Salarchik here, sir. You know, Faze still here, sir. Justin. Anybody know where Justin is? Left, right, okay, he's gone. I mean, it is a bit like that. Now, for him to be able to pick teams that can still put in a performance, and all right, you could argue that the Charlton performance wasn't the best, but we got 3 points, and that's all that matters. We did enough for that. For him to pick a team and then still leave players like El Canoes and Winks out at the start, he's doing a bloody good job, isn't he?
I wasn't too impressed in the last game.
But we got 3 points.
Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, because you know, if we play nice football and don't go up, it surely is all about. I mean, it's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. Mostly I am, but I'm not saying I am on this occasion. But for me, you know, I'd sooner like not play nice football and, you know, not win games. Oh, bad, we played well. I'd sooner play awful. And it was a smash and grab. I won't deny, Dave. It was a smash and grab, and it was a fantastic save in the first half that kept us in it. And an amazing goal in the second half to just give him the goal of the season now. You know what I mean? But he's doing a good. I mean, or do you not think he's doing a good job with what he's got?
I don't know what he's doing, Chris. You know, I don't know what say he's got in who goes, who stays, what his squad's going to be. I mean, he's the manager. He should have a big say in his squad. He's got to manage them all season. But I don't know. I mean, the only good thing I know is I think the average age has come down by about, 5 years or so of the players that have come back, and we've retained to the players that have left. So that's always a good sign, which you know, makes me think, no, we're not going to go. I never thought we were going to go up this year. And I'm never sure wanted to. Like Kate, if we go up with a squad we've got now, we'll come back down again. Do we want to go through all that crap every other year? You know, we had that back in the old days. We don't want that again. Let's just build and get settled thing. I mean, when's this bloody points deduction supposed to be happening, or what's? Do anybody know?
It's been delayed because they want to try and get it out. The new rules are they need to get it out as soon as they can for the season, so that teams know where they are. But because we just didn't break PSR, because we were also late in putting our figures in, which was Susan Whelan sitting on them and not posting them off, that's why it's taken a bit longer, apparently. But yeah, I just want, if it's a 9 point, I hope it's not. I mean, you've got to say, Craig, I mean, looking at how we are now operating, the AFL have got to look at us and go, you're trying, so maybe that will earn us some brownie points. I know, like I say, in the Leicester Mercury last night, we're not under a transfer embargo. We're not under a registration embargo. And I spoke to Kieran Maguire, who you may or may not know is the one of the financial gurus when it comes to the Premier League and football generally. And to his knowledge, there is not a business plan in place either. So we're doing all this off our own back. And I can say, they've got to look at that and go, yeah, give Leicester credit, they're trying. That was to you, Craig.
Yeah, I think what you would hope is that we've learned our lessons, Yeah. That we've learned our lessons and we're trying to do things the right way. And this, at some point you've got to have a bit of a clear out. You've got to declutter to give your place a fresh look. And I think that's where we're at the minute. I'm sure, Marty is having some say and I don't think he would get rid of players that he really wanted. I think those where he's on the fence and we're getting decent money for, I think he's probably sanctioning those moves that they're not going to be starters, although I think JJ would have been. I mean, he gave him the captain's armband, didn't he? But I think 10 million for a player who's out of contract at the end of the season, that's decent business and you can't really turn that down. So I think we're trying to do things the right way. It gives you that feeling that we're trying to do things the right way. We are trying to trim the squad. We're finding where the value is without selling your crown jewels. And I'm really pleased that we're in a position now where we can say, look, if you want Canoes, there's a price tag. It's 35 mil. Meet it. When Dibbling from Southampton is going for like 43, who for me is was a flash in the pan. He did not impress me at all when he played against us last season. He's done like half a season and they've managed to get 43 mil for him. I think we're well within our rights to dig in our heels and say 35 mil, take it or leave it.
And of course, the release clause isn't in effect anymore. Michael says there, Kate, you clear out the deadwood, not your best players. Problem is, though, if nobody wants that deadwood, you can't clear them out, can you?
Was he saying they're our best players? Sorry, Kate. Sorry.
Yeah. Then, Casey's not our best player. We couldn't get in the starting 11, so he doesn't really class as a best player. But you can't clear out deadwood. That sentence is a misnomer. You can't clear it out. If they want to stay, you've got no choice. You make it sound like we're in control of players. We're not. We don't. All the power is with the players. So we are just literally taking the opportunities as they come for players that are not likely to feature in the future. And Casey and JJ are not likely to feature in the future. Like I said, they're horses that have run their race for me with Leicester. And Wilfs is another one. And I think that because we've got money for them rather than going on a free, if they'd have gone on a free this time next summer and still been the same level of importance to Leicester as they currently are, particularly with Casey and particularly with Wilf, then you'd be kicking off that they're going for free. So we've got money for them, and a bird in the hand is sometimes worth more than anything. And you cannot clear out deadwood. We can't make Fast go. We can't make some of the others go. It's just too difficult. You can't do it. And it's the same with every single football club. Every single football club has this problem, which is why they suffer at the hands of PSR. Man United got off the hook last year because they got into the Europa final. That's the only reason why they've not breached, and it brought loads of sponsorship. So we've just beggars can't be choosers, and we're just unfortunately this selling club at the moment. Well, I'll say at the moment, there's no one else that's in the buying market really, apart from the obvious big clubs. So it's just a position that we're in, and that's how PSR has evolved. And the crucial thing about PSR is it keeps whacking you over the head. You don't just fail once with PSR; it will keep hammering you on the head for season after season after season, because it's really dreadfully constructed, in my view.
And of course, as you said, the other thing is with a bird in the hand, it usually poos in it as well. And my friends the Seagulls are here tonight, which is very nice. Dave, so this season, and I said at the start of the season that I put Leicester in the playoff positions at the end purely, and that was my heart overruling my head. I said at the start that I think Leicester would probably finish 7th or 8th with or without a points deduction. I don't think we're ready, but I don't think it's a bad thing because, if we are relying on the youngsters, and, you look at Monga, who started at the weekend, not as good as when he came off the bench. You look at Page, decent enough game, but he got bullied out of it because that's the sort of team that Charlton are. And a season down at this level, and all those players will probably be more ready for the Premier League. Somebody just said it is harder to get out the longer you're down. But I think Leeds have got a better chance of staying up. I know what you were saying, Kate, with your friend, but I fancy them to stay up because they have that extra season down here.
Well, they've got rid of a load of players, haven't they, Leeds? And they did when they didn't get promoted. I mean, I think it's great the youngsters coming through. We did see it, I think, under Jock Wallace, wasn't it, many years ago, and it worked.
He used to be our manager, by the way, Kate. I know you're very young; you might not remember him.
I've got the single.
This is the season.
Champions we are, it says.
I've got one that says this is the season. I think it's 1974.
No. So, I mean, and I disagree with points are important. They are important, but not that important. The way we play is important. I think style of football is important. I think, people go to watch and be entertained. We're not being entertained anymore. It's not just Leicester. I watch it on the telly and I think this is so boring. It's not fun anymore. There's nobody that really entertains you. And the guy that said earlier, I can't remember who it was now, that Man United never, under Ferguson, were never entertaining. My God, they were. You had the likes of Giggs, Beckham, Keane smacking people about, Van Nistelrooy, all that lot.
If that's your idea of entertainment, I think you're watching the wrong sport, Dave.
It's entertaining. It gets the crowd up. You see that, don't you? A little bit of aggro and everybody's up for it and everybody wants it. And, a bit of skill, bit of style, bit of Worthington. That's what we want. We don't want this boring crap. Even 2 years ago that, we got promoted, but God, everybody moaned about that.
Dave, you'll have been pleased to read that we managed to get down to 9 men in our under-18s game the other night.
Yeah,
it all kicked off.
Knocking them about. I mean, that character, that's what you're there for, isn't it? Show a bit of character, not be bullied. We were bullied last year, weren't we? By teams. And
we're probably going to get bullied this year. I accept.
Well, maybe
they are younger.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Maybe another season will do all good.
At least another season. Yeah.
Kate, you may want to sort of rethink your life choices here about meeting up with Dave. I think he's probably got a basement with quite a few chains and a few whips down there as well.
His character.
I would not take Kate on, I promise you.
I don't think what. We've not seen Kath for a while. I don't know what's happened to her.
Oh, she's blowing something
under the floorboards. I've not seen her since you had your flat redone, and that looked like a scene out of Dexter. Craig, let me come to you then and ask you this, and I'll come to Kate and get you the same thing. Dave said then, and like I say, it's opinions, and I'm not saying he's wrong. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. The way we play is more important than points. Ray, would you agree with that, or would you say it's more important to get the points? I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be absolutely nice to have a combination of the two, wouldn't it?
I think in all our heads it is, but the reality is it's not, to be honest. I mean, ask Spurs fans last season under Postecoglou, fantastic to watch. But, Spurs fans are a perfect example. They didn't want Conte, they didn't want Mourinho, they didn't want all that. They wanted swashbuckling football. They got swashbuckling football and then they kept getting beaten and they didn't like that. So I think we all have this romantic idea that we can play great football and get points. If you had to choose one or the other, I think you'd take the points rather than the great football. The great football will come. I think when you're in a rebuilding phase, it's about grinding out results and making sure you're in that division and going in the right direction. And I think the longer these players play with each other, I think better performances will come.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Craig there, really. I think playing philosophy is really important. It's important for the spectacle of football. I was even listening to John Terry on Instagram, I think it was yesterday, saying that's one of the main reasons why he's not gone into management, because he's like, in the interview process is just awful. They ask about your philosophy, they ask about you playing out from the back, and if you're not playing out from the back, you're not worth talking to. And John Terry's like, that's not what I grew up with. Where's this come from? Why is this dominating the whole of the play? Yeah. Surely you want different philosophies, and as long as you can talk about yours, it shouldn't really matter. And he was saying, like, you know, the lower league teams can't play that philosophy. So some of the lower league roles that he's gone for, he's like, why are you bothered about playing out from the back? They've not got the players to play out from the back. You're going to just tie yourself in a knot. So the philosophy in the past couple of years, well, the last couple of Premier League years, has been wanting. We had a philosophy under Enzo, and it was argued to be boring a bit, and it was at times. It was stagnant and it was lackluster, but he got the job done. And ultimately, we're in a results business, aren't we? And winning has to trump everything, I think. And philosophy is just a nice to have. If you've got a shit philosophy, but you're getting 3 points every week, who cares, really? It's not something that's discussed. But if you're losing every week and you've got a poor philosophy, then that will see the headlines more, won't it? So, yeah, I mean, as much as I would love to see a philosophy change, I'm glad that ours is changing. Like, there's less passing around the back. We seem to be a bit more front-footed. I don't really know how we've got lost in the way of Pep Guardiola, or how we've been able to brainwash and dominate everybody without the same kind of personnel in the team, and thinking that possession and XG is the key stat, and it's not. It's goals. You know, we arguably had a bit of possession last year and we got no goals. You know, we saw us want to have one of the worst Premier League teams of Leicester's history, I would think. So, yeah, I see what Dave's saying completely, because it has not got the right personnel.
Okay, I'm just looking. Have you done your BBC report this week?
No, I need to do it after this.
Can I just say, I've got to, because of the situation and how it's working out this season, I thought, you know what, if I miss a week, I'm not going to give a damn. Really.
No, I'm a bit the same, to be honest. But yeah. I will do it. I had thought about it early, but I've just not had time this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, look, this XG to me, I don't think it's worth the paper it's written on, to be honest with you. But, you know, if we look at the stats from Saturday, Charlton had an XG of 1.51. We had an XG of 0.5. They had 20 shots. We had 6.
Well, that's entertaining, isn't it?
Yep. But the only stat that matters is the fact that they got 0 goals and we got 1.
Well, Mad and Larry would probably agree with you, but I mean, I don't find that particularly entertaining. I wouldn't want to go and watch it. I'm sorry. We need to do better than that. We need to play better, play differently. But to be fair, he's played 3 games plus a Mickey Mouse Cup game. So, you know, it's too early to judge him. Completely too early.
Well, this is going to lead me on to my next question. We always say, don't we, and whoever is in charge, we trust. I'm looking at West Ham now. I mean, I want to say I was in a chat with a West Ham fan the other day, and I did thank him for the 20 million. I don't think he's too happy with our ex-goalkeeper. But you've got to give Marty credit. I mean, he's, like I said, this is his, 5th game? One of a friendly Fizzy Pop Cup and 3 league games. This is like his pre-season, and he's having to juggle all this, who's coming and who's not coming in. Do you think the fans will give him time? You know, suddenly if we end this transfer window next Monday and we haven't bought anybody in, I would say I will understand why, but, and it's that big but. Do you think he will get the time off the fans?
Dave. Who are you talking to? Oh, me? No, I doubt it. But if we keep winning 1-0 with boring football, he will.
You're not going to let... Right. I'm just going to... and I didn't think I would be doing this much this season. But, I'm going to have to go with this for you, Dave.
Let it go, let it go.
Where I got to say, Craig is more.
I'm loving it.
What's she doing there?
I found that the other day, and I've been waiting for a moment to be able to play it.
I thought
Let it
Martin
go,
O'Neill's
Craig.
side was quite good. I'm pissed. Pearson.
You don't know what's going on in my head, I tell you.
I
But
don't.
look, Dave, well, I can say the fans surely look. We know how fickle Leicester City fans are, especially those in a certain part of the ground. But Marty seems to, he'll drop players that he doesn't feel the head's in the right place. I mean, when did we see Rodgers drop Tielemans in that last season, and his head was all over the place? But we've got a manager now that doesn't bring Winks on. Although having said that, I wish you would bring him on early because Kip and Sumari are not exactly impressing me. But
Can we sell him?
The fans have got to get behind Marty, haven't they? Whatever we do in this window.
Well, it's the only way if we do go up, which is debatable. That's the only way it'll happen, by constant support. And we've been booing already. Now that's going to achieve nothing.
Yeah.
You've got to support the club. If you want, the football, they boo when it goes sideways, boo when it goes backwards. And I'm being told that, and I will let it go eventually, but 3 points is more important than the style. But clearly, to the majority of Leicester fans that are booing, it's not. They're kind of, where are you all? You're supposed to be with me on this one. They want football.
When you say you'll let it go eventually,
yeah.
Is that this year?
Possibly, yeah. But no, I mean, give the guy a year or two at least. I mean, he's got a hell of a task. Who would want this job, really, with the uncertainty that comes with it?
Yeah, anybody, because they know if they get sacked, they get a huge pay packet. That's why managers keep going to Watford.
That's a different issue, isn't it? But when Enzo came in, he had a big say in the transfers, didn't he? And what players came in, and he did it early. If you remember this time 2 years ago, we were saying, wow, we've done all our transfer business early. We've never done that before at Leicester.
No, but then probably doing that led us to where we are now.
Possibly. But he's got 2 weeks, hasn't he? Is it 2 weeks to go? 2 or 3?
Well,
transfer.
The window?
Yeah.
No,
it's
Monday.
It's not even that, is it?
It's coming up Monday.
So come on, you can't tell me he's going to get any decent players in before then.
Craig, I mean,
that are available anyway.
Well, we were after this attacking midfielder striker from Feyenoord, but looks like we might be losing out to Pisa. He obviously wants a piece of the action. But Craig, we say about Enzo, we don't know that Enzo had a big say. And under him, we got Winks on 90 grand a week, and we got Skip on 50 odd grand a week.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the days of Brendan as well, as Rob Tanner's told us with a bit of insight about how much he was involved in getting the players that he wanted on longer contracts with good money to make sure they stayed at the club. And then he gets sacked, and we're stuck with the players that he's loaded us with. And it'll be the same. A manager will want his own players, and he'll do what it takes to make sure that those players stick around. And that's where you need the strength of character of the people higher in the higher echelons to stand their ground and say, well, we have prices that we'll pay for certain players, and we'll have a wage structure that we'll stick to. But when you chop and change a manager, it's very difficult to then not support that manager.
Yeah, and
that's why sometimes it's better off sticking with the manager for 2 or 3 seasons at least, because we did it with with Cooper. New manager again, and he wants his OAPs, the Dad's Army, to come in, and you either say no, we're not going to do it, and therefore you don't back your manager from day one, or you go with what he is recommending. So you are in a difficult position. But I would imagine that Marty, I mean, it's not like he's come to this league from somewhere else.
No.
He'll know this league. He'll know this division. He'll have been scouting players for QPR over the past couple of seasons. So he should have a good idea of what he wants. When he came to the club, he talked about his philosophy, going back all those years to Johan Cruyff, where he grew up in Barcelona, and he knows how he wants the game to be played. So he's in a position now where, getting these players out, he should be able to bring in players that can play the style of football that he wants. So if we can, I'm hopeful of what we'll have for the rest of the season.
But Kate, look, Crystal Palace, it appears, are out of the race for Bilal. Don't want to pay what we're asking, and like Craig said earlier, well, sod off, that's the price we want for him. But even, I think it was one of Rob Dorsey's tweets saying, Bilal has made his position clear. He wants to move. If we keep him, are we then stuck with a player, another Vestergaard, another Winks, when, that don't really want to be here? Or are we better actually saying, well, all right, then, come on, you can have him a bit, for what you want?
It just depends. I mean, Bilal hasn't necessarily made a transfer request, from what I understand. If Crystal Palace have come in for him and his agent has said, this is on the table, what do you think? And he's said yes, because they're a Premier League club, they're an established Premier League club, and it's better than his current situation at the minute. And then that falls through. I wouldn't say we've got an unhappy player on our hands. It's down to his agents and his people to try and get a move for him. I'm not sure that he's this player that's knocking on the door wanting to go. He's not an Isak, is he? He's just had his head turned, and quite understandably, he's probably open to Premier League options. So I've said from day dot, I don't think that he's going to go. I just don't feel that he is, but someone might swoop in. If they pay 35, 40 million for him, then I think that's good business, because that's pretty much almost doubling our money in the space of 12 months, which is excellent business for Leicester City. But I don't think he's going to be a Fofana. I don't think he's going to be a Riyadh where he's stuck at the airport. I think this guy's got a really good work ethic, but you can't blame a guy for being interested and wanting to accept an opportunity if a better one comes along. And I think that's what we're dealing with here with Bilal. If the opportunity then gets withdrawn, he is still a happy Leicester City player. He might feel a bit aggrieved, he might feel a bit annoyed that it fell through, but it won't be annoyed necessarily at Leicester, because I can imagine that he'll have known about this release clause if it actually existed more than anybody.
Yeah,
and no one came in for him for the deadline. So I think we've not got an unhappy player. It's not like we've got an Isak, like I say, who is desperate to leave. We've just got a guy where a deal might have fallen through.
Like you said, I mean, none of these stories of him being unhappy have actually come from him, or, leaks to foreign papers where they claim that they were misquoted or anything like that. So we don't know that he's unhappy. His head, look, he's a 21-year-old lad. His head's going to be turned if it's the Premier League, because that's where he wanted to be. It wasn't to be last season. So, yeah, of course his head's going to be turned. And as you said earlier, Kate, fair play to Marty for taking him out of the line and going, look, if you're not ready, maybe you shouldn't have picked him for the earlier game, but he took him off at half-time for that. Dave, few people are saying to me that we could see Tottenham sniffing about. They obviously, Maddison's out for most of the season. They missed out on Eze to Arsenal. Wasn't that a shame? Yes, we are, Craig. And do you think that they could be coming in?
Who knows? Who knows with Tottenham? They've got this thing, haven't they, where they're so desperate to win something. I know they won that thing last year, but that wasn't much, was it? That they really, will do anything.
Hello to all the Tottenham fans that are watching.
Yeah, hi guys. My mate Mills is going orgasmic about it all because they're second in the league. I didn't like to tell him it's only just started. He thinks it's all over now. But they
back in our day, Dave, we never saw a league for 10 games, did we?
No, that's right. I don't understand why it's printed. I mean, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Kate said earlier, let give it a dozen games and see where we are. Give it 40 games and see where we are. I don't care who goes, if I'm honest. I just care the fact that we get rid of this shit points thing. We get the youngsters playing football. and we get the manager so he gets supported by the fans and everybody. That's what we need to do.
They play entertaining football as well.
I've let that go.
Glad to hear it.
But that'd be nice.
Finally, before we're going to go on to, as Craig just pointed out, and I'm not saying I had forgotten at all, but we will be moving on to sort of players we'd like to see. But just to finalise on players outgoing, Craig, it looks like Besiktas players are coming over, I'm just having a very nice view of Dave's armpit there. The Besiktas board are on the plane coming over to talk about Faze, which I'm sure will have you in floods of tears. And Nottingham Forest are looking at Christensen. I mean, I'm going to say now, Craig, and you can make a note in your diary of this. I know Vestergaard's on a longer contract and on more money. But looking at them this season so far, I wouldn't be sorry if Vestergaard went and Faye stayed. It's unlikely, and obviously financially, it would be better if Vestergaard went, but it looks like Faye is going. But just, I don't always hate on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I hadn't seen that they were coming over to speak to Fars. I mean, I'd seen that Besiktas seemed to have about 3 or 4 centre halves on their list, so it depends. One thing will be interesting is whether he'll get a trip to the Turkish barbers. I'm not sure, but it will be interesting. I would like to see him stay. You know my point on that. I don't think the perfect defender, is out there, particularly in this division. So I think you're going to have to accept that some players have got ricks in them, and some players are just as they are. But when he's on top of his game, I think he's more than enough for this division. And Vestergaard, just his lack of pace worries me, to be honest. I said this before the season. I'd rather have someone who's got 70% of his passing ability, but 150 of his pace, to be honest, because I think that may well come and haunt us. But yeah, I mean, we can't keep selling defenders.
You say that. I was just looking then. Update on Wout Faes transfers. AC Milan, and this was a while ago, but it's kind of raised its head again today. AC Milan after Akoli.
Yeah,
at the moment we're going to have Skip and Samori in defence, aren't we?
Well, at least they won't be required to get up the pitch. So. Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose, then I'd lose Christensen. I like Christensen. I think Christensen would probably do well in Marty's brand of football, where he likes fullbacks pushing on. But if we've got to lose one of them, I think I'd lose Christensen. But then you do start looking, how thin are we going to be at fullback now? JJ could have played both sides. He's gone. You've got Ricardo, who's injury prone. Oh. You've got, if Christensen goes, you've got Thomas. And then we've got a Luco, the young kid,
and the invisible Koulibaly.
Who knows where he is. So we start looking a little bit thin, and this is why I would hope that we've got a list of replacements lined up. But yeah, I think Coley had one bad game, but I think he's looked pretty solid. To be honest, I think him and Fars are a good pairing. To be honest. They won't get bullied. As a way we've seen other defenders get bullied, I think. So, interesting to see what happens and if they do go, what the fees are. I'm not sure what. I know we're talking. I think it would be a bit of a loss on what they're talking about for Christensen, but then he's been injured a lot for us as well. So, you're getting, you're freeing up 2 or 3. Physiotherapy tables at Seagrave as well.
You are, Michael. Don't get off that fence, mate. Get off that fence. You'll end up with splinters in your arse. Kate, before we move on to who because I did ask you to maybe have a think about who you'd like to see come in. I do want to touch on Koulibaly. I mean, he's not even in the squads now. Is it the fact that the managers maybe? Well, look. Forget Rude, but is it maybe that Marty sees something in him, but he's just not settled yet? we're not exactly full of French-speaking players, are we? Apart from Samari, and he doesn't strike me as the number one conversationalist in the club. So he's a young lad again. Sometimes people do find it hard to settle. I always said, Fofana came in, we threw him in, and he swam. But not all players do that. Is it a case of he needs the time, or should he be one that we're looking to get out the window as well?
Yeah, I think as much as Michael Golding was our PSR, the guy that fell with PSR, what can I hear?
Dave's probably on the radio, Dave?
Yeah.
As
much as Michael Golding was our horse that fell with PSR and was used totally for that, I think Koulibaly was a protest signing from Rude, and I will stand by that. That'll be a hill I'll die on. I don't think we'll ever really see him. I don't think there's anything that would want Leicester to buy him, but I think Rude wanted to demonstrate and protest that this is how little money I've got to work with. And he'd already thrown the towel in at that point. So we decided to piss 3 million quid up the wall instead of keep it. That's my honest view of why we signed Koulibaly. It was a protest signing from Rude, and I won't ever think any different, because he's just not featured at all. And it's really sad for the guy, because he's a young lad trying to make his way. But I think Rude got political with that.
I wouldn't disagree. Dave, who do you want to see come in the club?
God knows.
He's not on the panel.
I'm assuming we looking for freebies or out of contracts and players. Danny Ings, I'd like him to come in for a season. He's still available, is he? Available,
but
he's out of contract. He's younger than Vardy.
Yeah, but you're younger than Vardy almost, to be honest.
I wish. But I mean, he's not a bad player. He scores goals. We haven't got a striker, really.
We need a striker, definitely. I don't necessarily think at his age, I can see the fan base warming to him. And I don't think he's maybe the 1 in 3 or 4 striker that we need. But we do need a striker, 100%, Dave,
Yeah. What about that guy that played for Chelsea? What was his name?
Kerry Dixon?
Yeah. It's a Ford Escort, wasn't he? Z-Tac or somebody. Zytek? Is he? Because he hasn't had a club. Yeah, that's him. He hasn't had a club, has he, for a while?
No, he's still a free agent.
He'd be desperate to come and play for Leicester.
Do you think, Dave, that if they're free, I mean, we were linked, for example, with Oxlade-Chamberlain, although I think we might have had to pay a bit for him, but if they're free, are they worth going after?
What's the options? Seriously,
maybe really $1 or $2 million from a League One or League Two club. We
really haven't got any money. We're not blessed with players saying they want to join Leicester. I don't see what the options are. There's no decent strikers around left, because every club, even in the Championship, are buying strikers, either centre halves or strikers. I had a quick look through some of the club's purchases, and that's what they've gone for. We're so late in the game, I'm not sure who's available anymore, apart from these freebies.
Well, the thing is, if we do get the freebies in, we don't have to worry about the deadline.
No,
we can sign them up at any time.
We need to get settled. That's the real point about it, isn't it? We need a settled squad that he's confident in will do a job. We're talking about doing a job this season, and that's helping the youngsters on, being part of it, and keeping us up.
Okay, let me throw this one at you then. I'm looking here at a list of players that are out of contract. Then I think most of them, to be honest with you, are out of contract, but have been signed up if they're sort of quite young. And I can't remember his name. I was going to say Djokovic, but he's a tennis player. Who was the guy from Liverpool who scored? He was young and he used to score quite very important goals in European finals and what have you.
Origi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Origi, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, he went to abroad, and I was reading somewhere.
Like Djokovic.
Don't
Sounds like
me, I'm old.
Sounds like Djokovic. Yeah.
Don't. In my mind, you know what I'm like with.
I don't want to know what's in your mind. I've just seen a bikini with eyes. I think that's all I need to see. To be honest, that's enough of a window into that.
I never knew you even models like that, Kate.
Oh, didn't you?
Well, look, the relationship you two have, I don't like to get involved. Hello,
I think
Kate.
Djokovic is fit enough anyway.
Does Kate's mum, does she still watch?
I think she does.
Yeah. Hi, Mum.
But no, what was he called, Craig?
Origi.
Origi.
His name was Divock. That's where you've got Djokovic from. It was Divock Origi, wasn't it?
Now you see, you took the piss out of an old pensioner here, and you know, I hope you feel guilty now.
Not really, no.
No. What anybody's thoughts on him? Because he's looking at getting back.
I thought he was a great player. I thought he was unlucky at Liverpool.
He really was,
Yeah.
Where's he been? Where's he been at the minute?
He went abroad. How do you spell his surname? And I'll have a look.
O-R-I-G-I.
DJ-O.
Yeah, you're probably right, Scott.
Yeah, he was at Milan.
Oh, okay.
AC Milan. He's now gone to Milan Futuro, which I presume is one of their smaller, B teams, C teams, whatever they have over there. And he was at Forest for a while. He went to AC Milan, then he was loaned to Forest. Then he came back to AC Milan, but he obviously hasn't settled. And I think their manager has said he has no particular thoughts for him in his squad. I'm just looking. I mean, what he has won is he's won a Champions League. He's won a Premier League. He's won a UEFA Super Cup. He's won a FIFA Club World Cup. He's won the FA Cup. He hasn't won an English Super Cup, though. But I think he could be worth a punt. I mean, he's 30 now, so he's probably a bit older than we all thought he would be. But he's on that edge, isn't he, of probably Cifuentes' thoughts, Dave?
He should be. And he's proven record in the UK. But there must be a few players around like that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That they must... I don't know what they're scouting things like now, you guys. I mean, you probably know more about all that than me, but, they're gone are the days where we can pick a player and he suddenly blooms into something special. And the idea is to bring the age down.
Yeah.
So,
the other thing is he played 127 games in the Premier League, either starts or coming on. He's got 22 goals, so it's one goal in every 187 minutes, and he got 10 assists. So maybe he's not as. But then again, he very rarely started, did he?
Yeah,
Craig,
he's got 10 minutes, didn't he, a time?
Yes, yeah. Craig, I know you have done your homework.
Always.
Always.
Do my homework.
There's always a spot. I'm just sorry, Craig. I'm just looking for the apple.
Origi wouldn't be on my list at all, to be honest.
Okay.
I do worry about players who move around a lot and no manager seems to want to keep them. And wherever they go, they make an impact for 3 months and then all of a sudden they're on the move again. I'm not sure he's the kind of guy who's going to roll his sleeves up and get stuck into a promotion battle, to be honest. We need players who are going to ingratiate themselves with a fan base, not just come in and play for a wage packet. I'm not convinced. You're talking about Danny Ings. If you're going down that route, I would much rather us take a gamble on Michail Antonio, to be honest, who's without a club, who would run his socks off. And if you want someone who's going to hold the ball up, I'm not sure there's many better. When he's at his peak, obviously he had that the accident that he's come back from, and I know he's come out and said that he wants to get back to the highest levels. He's 30. I would take more of a gamble on him as a free agent than because he was He was great when he was at Forest. You know, he's got a goal in him. But as a front runner for somebody to get you up the pitch, I thought he was great. On his day, he was unplayable. So I think Michail Antonio would be a great pickup for nothing.
Was he at West Ham as well?
Yeah, he was at West Ham, yeah. And he played great.
He liked a goal against us, didn't he, if my memory serves?
He did, but he was playing up there as a lone striker a lot, you know, and you could get the ball up to him and it would stick. And I think that's what we've not got at the moment. We haven't got a player who can do that. You know, Josh Brownhill, I think, you know, I would imagine Josh Brownhill is sitting and waiting to see all the offers come in and then make a decision at the end of the window. I would love to get him. You know, he's and I think we have got a few quid to spend. You know, if needs be. Yeah, I think we have, and you know, I'd like to go and see us buy. You know, go and test the arm of a couple of clubs for proven goal scorers in this division. Josh Sargent at Norwich was going to leave. He was going to go to Germany, and that fell through. He's proven at this level. I'd like to see us, you know, maybe see what it would take to get him out of there. The kid at Millwall that we've been linked with.
Yeah.
Mihailovic, is it? I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Ivanovic, Djokovic, that's him.
Djokovic, got it.
Is it Ivanovic? But I mean, I've looked at him and he looks like he's got it all. You know, if you look at his reel from his goals that he scored last season, you know, right foot, left foot header. He even scored one when he was on the floor with his head because he was so desperate to get to the ball. He looks like he's got a bit about him, and he gives it the old Mitrovic thing because he's Serbian as well.
I worry when we look at YouTube reels. You know,
I get that, but you know, he's been linked with us.
Daka's one looks good. Sure, I accept, but
again, nobody said anything when he scored 4 in Europe. Nobody was calling him crap at that point. So, you know, all of a sudden, he's crap and he's never going to be any good ever again. So, you know, I don't think you can take that. We've been linked with him, so I had a look at him, and he looks like he could be. He's 20, you know, and he's scored goals. Anyway, I think he'd be good. And there are other players that you can take a gamble on. And, you know, there's a couple of youngsters out in Europe who look like they're ready for the next move up, which is like a loan move, you know, that we could get as well. I would maybe looking at that market. But I think Antonio would be great for us, and I would like us to go and try and see what it would take to get one of these strikers out of Norwich or Millwall, to be honest.
Talking about Brownhill, because I would have liked Brownhill, but I do know, well, according to Dan, the Burnley fan, he turned down 60 grand a week at Burnley in the Premier League. So maybe,
which is fine, but we haven't. You know, he's not going to cost us a bean. If he was going to cost us 5 or 6 mil, we'd probably say that was a good price for someone who gives you 17, 18 goals.
Possibly. Manny's to come in. Hi, Manny, how you doing? We're linked with Muso Stiller from Schalke. I think we've got more links, Kate, than a rosary bead. That's the worry. I mean, I was a bit disappointed we missed out on Coney from Wickham, but he went to QPR. Maybe we weren't ready to buy then. Maybe that was the thing with that deal that we know, because we've sold a few more players since then. Anybody that you've had your eye on, apart from Dave, obviously?
Dave's just entered retirement, so he's no longer available anymore.
Oh, sorry, Dave. Right.
I mean, I don't scout players particularly. I just think it's going to be a bit of a chicken and egg situation with Bilal, because if Bilal goes, I would argue that his replacement is more important than a striker. But if Bilal doesn't go, then I think that really me and Craig had this conversation a few weeks back. The midfield is the most worrying part of Leicester City at the moment. Yeah. We don't have a midfield at the moment. Harry Winks is probably the only real starter. If you really could have your pickings, and Samari and Skip just aren't cutting it. So realistically, I think we need a box-to-box midfielder. We've not replaced KDH. We haven't got that Drinkwater type player in our team that can, bomb forward and track back as well. So
isn't Samari meant to be box-to-box?
Yeah, but like I've said, he's not first pick. He's only first pick at the minute because there's no one else. So we're left wanting with him every time, and once in every 10 games we'll see something where we think, oh, that's a player in there, but he just doesn't show it often enough, and he doesn't have the desire to show it regularly. So the midfield is the worrying part for Leicester, and even more so if we don't if Bilal goes and we don't replace him. I think if Bilal stays, there's arguably enough goals in those three, the wingers and Bilal. But if he does go and we don't replace, then all of a sudden the bit of creativity that we're able to generate will rely heavily really on Fatawu, because I don't think Mavididi quite does enough regularly to get, say, goals per game or assists per game. And then, between Jordan and Daka, again, I don't think that's your mainstay strike force. I think Jordan will get some, but he's not the mainstay strike force. So it all hinges on this Bilal deal a bit for me.
I mean, we've been linked, like I said, with Calvin Stengs, although he's apparently in talks with Pisa. But we would have only have gone for him if we had lost El Canouse.
Yeah. But
he could play as an attacking midfielder, a right winger, and Robin van Persie, who's his manager at Feyenoord, who was a pretty decent striker himself, obviously, said he could happily play him up front. We'll end with this one because it did make me laugh. I found a story the other week. Does anybody remember Tom Cannon? Now,
You do indeed.
Let it go.
No. Because I was one of those who were saying, why the bloody hell isn't he being given a chance? Why isn't he being given a chance? We keep giving Daka a chance. Why aren't we giving Tom Cannon a chance? And I read this piece and it said, Leicester are laughing all the way to the bank because apparently he's doing shite for Sheffield United. And of course, they're at the bottom. I think he's only scored. He scores every 187 minutes or something, and that sometimes it's a penalty. And it just shows, I think, that sometimes we shout, and I hold my hands up for doing this. we shout for players to come in, but we don't know. And obviously, was it 4 managers that didn't go for him? Was it Enzo,
Cooper and
Rood? Yeah, 3 that didn't go for him. Maybe these managers do know a little bit more than us fans. Anybody?
I never thought Cannon was going to be a goer anyway, because if those 3 managers at the time weren't interested, then what does that say about him really? For whatever reason, I still think there was a problem with him injury wise. I think he arrived with a stress fracture in his back, and I've always been wondering if there was more to it than that, and it hampered him somewhat. Because that would have been, if some of these strikers had worked out, when you think about people we've signed in the past, like Slimani, Musa, those types, if those had even
I like them too. I don't think Musa was given a fair chance. He was stuck on the wing.
But if he was done, if they'd just been a bit of the striker that we expected, we wouldn't be in such a hole with the Jamie Vardy retirement. We've tried a few times to get it right, and we kept getting it wrong. And Tom Cannon was another one, sadly. So, I don't like seeing players that are just frozen out of teams. So I'm glad that he's gone somewhere and got some football, and we've got some money for him as well.
Cannon not a goer, Dave, but she may still think you are.
Yeah, she wouldn't be wrong. Talking about players like that, I used to love Mendy.
Yeah, same.
He's gone to Watford now.
Yeah,
Is
brilliant.
he actually gone? Because I saw as well that he looked like he was going to go there because he was a free agent, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. I bloody would.
Yeah, I would.
Because I put him in the category. He was everywhere. I mean, he only scored 1 goal, wasn't it? But it was a cracker. But he's a sort of midfielder that generates a little bit.
He's better than anything we've got.
Well, yeah, that always helps.
And I don't think he got enough game time when he was with us.
No, but when he did, he didn't let us down.
No,
and he was a free. I assume he's a free because that contract.
So
we're missing these people all the time when we're not doing anything.
Like a Marty. You love a bit of a Marty, don't you deny it?
If you play him in midfield, I wouldn't mind. But then I hear Dele Alli's available as well.
You like your older players, don't you?
Mature.
That's because he's an older player.
Well, this is very true. This is very true. That's the word that Cooper used, wasn't it? Mature.
Yeah,
you know,
I like cheese. I like good cheese and good wine.
Yes, gone off. Craig, very last question. I mean, again, Kate mentioned Slimani. I thought he was a good enough player when he played, but he wasn't. We tried to play him in a Vardy role, and he wasn't a Vardy.
I loved Slimani. I think if we'd have played to his strengths, he'd have been great for us. And you can say exactly the same about Kramaric. You know, one that we
definitely
let go away as well. You know, you bring players in, you've got to play to their strengths. I'll go all the way back to Akinbaye, who people slag off incessantly. But Peter Taylor brought him in as a guy who scored all his goals in the 6-yard box and then sold the wingers and tried to make him play with his back to goal. So he got all the stick because he was being asked to do something that he couldn't. Same with Slimani. I thought he'd be great, you know, and Kramaric. Those players play to their strengths. You'll get the best out of them. If you don't, they'll look rubbish, and it's not their fault.
Perez, isn't it? Perez was the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
playing more sensible, and he'd have done something really.
Yeah.
Why do managers then buy players who play? And surely, you know, these scouts must say, right, this player does this or this player does that. Okay, and then try and change them. I mean, it's like when you get married. And us guys know, you know, the women always try and change you, don't they? You know, they fall in love with you as you are, and then you get married, and they try and change you. You're laughing, you know. But why? I'm going to get abuse after this. But why do they do that, Kate? Why do managers do that?
I think it's just probably blind arrogance that they think that they can slightly tweak their game to fit into their system and philosophy. But a lot of players, particularly the attacking players on certain sides or the ones that are used to the more central positioning like Perez, they're a one-trick pony, but the trick that they're good at is absolutely exceptional. So, you know, look at Lookman as well. I mean, we didn't properly utilise him enough, and, you know, 15 million back then was absolutely peanuts.
Yeah.
And it showed how hamstrung we were with this PSR thing that seems to be going on longer than anything.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, guys, thank you very, very much. That's interesting. This time when we speak next week, of course, it'll all be over. It's like Christmas. It will come and it will go. An earlier close. We will be on air for a couple of hours before the close of the window. Probably just playing noughts and crosses because we're not bringing anybody in.
Talk about chocolate biscuits or something.
Probably. But I was going to tell you about a biscuit then, but I'm not going to. We're going to end. Hey, thank you very much, Dave. Thank you very much. Nice to have brought you two back together again. Craig, I don't know about you. I just felt like, you know, the gooseberry. Did you?
Well, you know, I'm just here happy to make up the numbers, Chris.
Well, at least you went to a concert with her, more than I've ever done.
Excuse me. We're not talking like Coldplay concert here. I don't think they actually went together.
Yeah.
And got caught on Kiss Cam.
A bit of a coincidence, don't you think?
Oh yes, yes, indeed. I absolutely. I was going to say very, very quickly. I don't know if any of you are on TikTok. I absolutely love TikTok. TikTok's my new go-to thing when I sit on the toilet when it used to be the newspaper.
Oh, great.
And the kiss cams are all over that, and they are really, really funny. But two that I have recently seen, and I may have said this before, but I'm going to say it again, it's my show. The first one was, like I say, West Ham fan going absolutely balmy about Mads Hermansen. He was only supposed to come in as the number 2. They want Potter out. They absolutely can't stand Potter. In fact, he's only won 5 games since he's been there. He's blaming everybody but himself. Maybe, just maybe, we dodged a bullet there. And I've also got to say a big shout out to the Wrexham fan who was going absolutely mad at I've forgotten his name.
Danny Ward.
Danny Ward, thank you. Going absolutely mad at Danny Ward because he let a goal in at his near post. And I
Nothing wrong with Danny Ward.
Don't think he appreciated my "Welcome to our world" comment either. Thanks very much. I'll see you all next week. Have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Don't do anything I won't enjoy, and I'll see you then. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.
See you guys. Be good.
And if you can't be good, be careful, as they say.
Very careful.
Yes. So thanks very much to all three there. All that flirting going on. I did feel a bit of a gooseberry. No, they're great guys. Thanks very much. We'll be back 6 o'clock tomorrow with the new show. We might be doing something afterwards, depending what the news is. And I might just come up with a bit of fun because it's a Wednesday. I'm not usually around on a Wednesday. Might have a night off and watch a film. I might just come in. I've had a thought about a show. Oh, and don't... Yes, madam. Yes. Coming up, and if you follow us on Twitch, you'll probably enjoy this more. We're going to be doing Football Manager, Leicester City Career Mode. Follow us for that. You can get involved with suggestions and what have you as Tom plays through the games. Can Tom do any better than Ruud van Nistelrooy? Probably not, knowing Tom. Click the likes, subscribe if you're new, click that notification bell. Thank you to everybody that was in the chat. If you're watching on Catch Up, add your comments in below. You can still like and subscribe as well. And you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform. Cheers, me dear. Thank you very much for sparing us your ears. Take care, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Take care. I'll see you then. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.